and also managing our traditional leaders. And I think everyone is ready for the event to take place, and I would like to welcome the Honorable Minister Thembi Nkadimeng. She's the one who is going to be running this whole show. But Honorable Minister, you can rest assured that on our side, we've done everything we could to prepare for the Presidential Imbizo in Somo. Our people are ready, government is ready with our report. We've done final touches with the Honorable Premier yesterday, and we're ready, Honorable Minister. That's what I can say, and everyone is welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, MEC. Good morning, DGs. Good morning, members of the media. Let me start by appreciating this opportunity given to me by yourselves, obviously, to come and listen to CoGTA. We have both DMs, DM Benson Mamashe and DM Dao, on the ground as well, in the province already on some of the side issues or side activities of the Imbizo preparations tomorrow. Quite a number of ministers, deputy ministers actually are here. Deputy Minister of Education is visiting the Albertina Sulu College, which train teachers in medicine education. Department of Agriculture has submitted the DALSEC agribusiness, which is ready with its plowing season. It's a very beautiful project in collaboration with the province. The deputy ministers, both of them in the presidency, will be joining in our assessment of our municipalities, locally and the district in Chris Hani this afternoon. Deputy Minister Peters is also busy. So it's quite a lot of pre-activities as well that were scheduled since Monday. The celebration of the Women's Day, which was a side event at Amateur District Municipality, of course. The Premier and the team had another major event in the Cooperative area. So it has been not only a visit of the President, who just lands on Friday, talk to the community and leave, but it's build-up, which are also made to ensure that there is meaningful in DDM. So for example, if you look into the DALSEC Park, Agribusiness Park, the province put in some money, Department of Agriculture, traditional leaders put land, and over 152 community members are beneficiaries into that project. So I even know your projects by heart now, right? In the college, the Nontsikelelo Sisulu, what a befitting name on Women's Month. Yeah. The Intsika donated land, Department of Education in the province, collaborated with the National Higher Education, and it's a fundamental program to enhance our teachers in math and science skills, to upgrade our young people and make sure that they achieve even better in the streams of math and science, and we all know why is it important in today's life. So this Imbizo, in its very own context, takes time at a very important time. Yesterday, we remembered the heroes and heroes of 1956. My mother often say, I must never say heroes, I must say women are heroes themselves, and never be afraid. So it's not a mistake that I've said heroes, because they stood. If you know the history of South Africa, in 1955, a Freedom Charter was drafted. Just a year after that, the women were brave enough to say, we demand it further and beyond the paper, and we're going to walk to the highest building in the land of South Africa and demand it. I think to me, there's no any other bravery that surpasses that. Of course, we congratulate this afternoon, touching on the soul of our Wanyana girls in Women's Month, who have also shown that with all the limitations we have, if we put our minds to it, nothing is not achievable. And this comes at the time where it is important that as women, we look next to what is happening to us. If we don't have anything to encourage us, I do believe the few examples that I've cited should be able to encourage us to even dream beyond. We are meeting this morning, however, on the district development model, which is a flagship of the 6th administration of President Cyril Ramaphosa. During his State of the Nation address in 2019, together with his budget speech, and I quote, the President said, lack of coordination and collaboration between national and provincial governments, between departments, and particularly at local government level, has not served the country. The pattern of operating in silos has led to a lack of coherence in planning and implementation, and has made monitoring and oversight of government's program difficult, I close quote. But if you assess this, it means it results in less than optimum delivery by government. So this time we are in the Eastern Cape for the 9th, 10 of provinces to host. The embedded of DDM is on our IGR framework, which is our Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act, to ensure that Cabinet as a government approach to improve services in an integrated planning and delivery across. The examples I've made showcase that there is a national government, a provincial government, and even a local municipality that participate directly in ensuring that work of government happens. This is not by mistake, because all of South African wards are located in a municipality. So each and every project, whether the function may be demarcated as Schedule 5B, which is national and provincial functions, but ultimately the implementation of that project happen in a ward. A school is in a particular ward. A police station is in a particular ward. So one planning as what a DDM espouses and a one integrated budget culminate itself into that. We're bringing into the fore now state-owned enterprises and private sector to ensure that it participate. So in this agribusiness example, we have a private sector that also came in to train the communities to ensure that they open the market for them, so that they actually are ready for a harvest. They had hoped that the president will be able to attend into it. Unfortunately, the area is around 150 kilometers away from where the president will be visiting. But we'll find a way on how best we could support the province and the project. Some of the key achievements from the pilot sites were actually ready now. DG may be able to articulate on it even further. We're ready now to ensure that a support tool for DDM gets to be introduced and rolled out in all municipalities. It is currently housed and developed in Engegement, which is one of the pilot sites. That tool will be able to even tell you how many people reside in the ward, how many are educated, how many projects are even beyond the municipal projects, how much do they cost, at what level of implementation are there blockages and why, who's supposed to intervene, what's the name of your councillor, what's his contact number. Please submit a pothole that you see into this system, linked into the number, create a job card so that we could trace how quick the system and the response of that municipality will be. And then our intervention will zero in and be direct and focused into what our communities are. But we've also realized that in the assessment of our municipalities, one element has been missing in how we assess service delivery is the economic recovery plans. Besides COVID, we must accept our municipalities are weak with regard to economic development. There's still a mind shift that needs to happen with us, understanding that we are part of job creation, we are part of economic development, but we are part on taking advantage of the small, medium enterprises that are in our areas. Actually, in general, people know how to live, but they lack government support. So it's the municipality that is closer to them. So we need to be the ones who are much sharper, alive to what our needs are economically, so that we could be able to develop them. the drafting of the enhancement of the IGR frameworks, we have learned some of the things that the law had assumed they would be easy to do, but when you are coordinating and collaborating, you need to enhance the law. So we're at the drafting level as well. The same as our monitoring and evaluation framework, which I've spoken to it in what we call our IMS system, which is this support tool. It's underway. There's quite a lot. But we, in the Eastern Cape, we've launched in what we try to ensure that DDM will produce something, not only oversee, Eastern Seaport Development, which is a partnership between the Eastern Cape Province and KwaZulu-Natal. So we also ensure that it needs to kick off, it needs to give benefits to the areas of Port St. John's, in your line to Cox, all the way to KZN. There's a host of about 120, 160 kilometers of sea in abundance, unspoiled, but yet not tapped in. And that's the intention of that. So reflecting on the journey, yes, there have been lessons, there have been difficulties, and we live tomorrow to see another day that we leave no one behind, but we also ensure that our plans are integrated, are district-based in delivery and in approach, so that we maximize on the range and ensure that we keep on the wastages. You may be aware that we started our first Imbizo in the Northwest Ngakani District municipality. We were told about crime, water, social ease, and issues around mining. The president will be going in the second round, but key in those Imbizos will be about report back. We've listened to the people. The major and substantial question is, what did we do about it? The second one was Free State, and issues were raised from communities about the Mangaung Metro, for example. Subsequently, it was placed under administration by cabinet. There is a diverse team that is there who are getting ready to fill the positions now at an advanced level, things that the municipality couldn't do for many years. We have been able to harness, not that there were no difficulties, there still are even today, but a consolidated plan has shown us that together we could be able to achieve what is even better. We went to Mpumalanga, we went to Gauteng, in Sidibeng, and many other areas in the Northern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, together. Last month we were in Sekhukhune, and we realized how partnering government could be able to turn that mining corridor and ensure that development. And the president announced, for example, a 12 billion project which is aimed at addressing water issues. The same in Utugela. There was an issue, I even remember that project by heart, Ekuvugeni, where the president announced no less than 200 million as well to ensure that those projects are also enlightened and the 7th Imbizo passed. What do we have in store tomorrow? I'm sure is another question. The president himself will be leading cabinet, his cabinet, to ensure that we are responsive. A project that is identified, which suits the areas, which provides services to both Amatole, which is a neighboring district, and Chris Hani, where we will be hosted, is a water project and a sanitation, a wastewater treatment plant, which services this both two areas. I wouldn't want to unpack more. The project is already, it's not a thought. It's currently running and servicing 2 districts.
Yeah.
So I would want you to be able to get a feel of that project and get a replica if the Eastern Cape government, ourselves, and DWS, which is water and sanitation in this instance, do a replica of such projects in all the areas in the Eastern Cape, which has got problems with water provision, which has got problems with the sanitation, but also introduction in the main plan that the MEC may be able to articulate to improvement of our roads, of our bridges, of our streams, to ensure that there's proper life even after there are challenges. We are looking strongly, and the Premier may be able to articulate on it tomorrow, into the improvement of our disaster management assessment teams at CoGTA and also in the province, to ensure, because we know now, KZN, Eastern Cape are more disaster proof in terms of the floods. Some of the areas like your Kebeka and others are disaster proof in terms of the drought. They're in the upper state of the country. So drought, lack of access to water, water conservation strategies are needed, the education of our people to ensure that they stretch the drop further and ensure that there are no wastages. So there's quite a lot. All the ministers will be here, particularly the sector ministers. They'll be able to account on issues that are raised on human settlements, RDP in the language that we usually call our houses. Minister of Water and Sanitation will also be there, leading the president in the project that I've highlighted. All the sector departments, health, education, will be the Minister Zolile himself in terms of societal ills and crime. He's already on site. He's already in the areas of Tsomo today. He's working on the police stations in those sites, doing his own oversight. So I think that's what we have for you, the last leg of our first set of Imbizos. We hope we'll be able to see you before the end of the 6th administration with the second round of Imbizo before we conclude. The notes will be made available. I didn't go to them by heart, as in word by word, but in essence, that's what we have in store for the Imbizo in the Eastern Cape. Yabo.
Thank you, MEC. Thank you, Minister. Minister, the news are so nice, especially before breakfast. And Minister, I'm happy that you touched on the history of the DDM model. One of my colleagues who happens to be here was asking me yesterday, he said, Mr. Balwe, are you sure you are not campaigning? I said, what do you mean? I said, no, I thought it's campaign. I said, no, we are not going to stadiums, to first stadium. Maybe listen to the minister, what she says. And I'm happy, Minister, you said we started on the 12th of March,
Yes.
Northwest 2022.
Yes.
And that was not campaign, that was intervention. So that is part of what the minister was indicating, that this is the 9th. We are on the 9th province of the DDM model. And from what she has announced herself, to say that we will then be on a Siahlola mode, checking the progress again of what has happened. So if you want more information, I think we do have the GCIS office here also in Eastern Cape. They will be able to assist you. On that note, let me open for the session for questions. I'm happy there is no question about engineering. I've answered them. I think you identify yourself and your media house. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Balwe. My name is Keith Ngesi of Keith Ngesi Media. I've got two questions. One, it looks like some municipalities are being workshopped around DDM, and this means the communities they serve are still in the dark about the concept of DDM. The example is Nelson Mandela Bay, where the executive was being workshopped around DDM. And when I asked the mayor, he said they are planning to go out to the communities. So if the president is going to Imbizo, are you not putting a cart before the dog where they will say, we don't know anything, the first time we hear about this? So how are you handling that? And the second one, seeing that the 3 tiers of government have different financial years, will we see the DDM finding expression in the IDP of the respective municipalities, or this is just an external intervention that will be done by the departments?
Thank you very much for the questions. Any other questions? Minister MEC were just on board. I could hear. I mean, I was paralyzed after they've spoken. Any other questions, colleagues? Going. Minister, the DDM.
No, thank you very much, Keith, for the question. I referred to the intergovernmental relations framework, which is section 41 of our constitution. And this section 41 was, I'm sorry about that. Section 41 was promulgated, if I'm not wrong, in 97, 98. Now that's the essence, and that's the cornerstone of the planning framework of South Africa, of which DDM is embedded on. Now, the importance of DDM and the IGR framework is to say we need, as government, to put ourselves in one house. We may call it a name, or you may not call it a name. But imagine umama eklaleni and her road is not done. Akazi ukuba uSandral or iProvince. Okanye nje ayimhluphe nabantu leyo wazi ukuthi uhulumeni must do my road. And in essence, that's what DDM is about. It says, in this example, the National Department of Transport, together with our regional transport, must design, must segregate, must separate their powers. The National Treasury must put the funding, and the appropriate sphere of government must then do the road. So mama akazuyihlupha ukuthi okay man yofuna uMinister Chikungani uyokumele enze lo mgwaqo. It's not in the nature of how you deliver services to the household. So you continue to workshop people all the time on any other work of government. I'm actually happy that the council has taken a decision to be enlightened on how best they could maximize their positioning. Now, why did we have to pilot? Now I'm saying to you, we are at the IMS delivery of the service tool to all the municipalities. Of course, we'll have to train them as well. We'll have to ensure the system is there. They are trained, they know how to load, they know how to budget. There is no misalignment with regard to financial years, no. In fact, it's aligned properly. Because when we start in June, or rather wrap up in June and start in July as municipalities, the province had finished its financial year in February, March. Whatever in excess that they couldn't use is allocated in 2-3 months' time at the municipal level, and we start to work. That is why, if you will recall, the IDP starts in that window of around March to end May. The mayors will go around with their draft and the draft budget, because at that time, National Treasury has realized, they know that CoGTA will spend, will not spend. They've done 3 of their quotas. We can now be able at an estimate to say how much will we have. That is even more for our sector. So that's why sometimes you find that in that June, July, a municipality will say they gave us 43 extra million or many more, depending on the plans that are readily available. Maybe what could be important for us as municipalities and CoGTA in particular could be how best can we maximize on that when our system or our financial year starts, we are ready to roll out our projects, we gain benefit from what the province and national will have given, transferred to us as part of the fiscus, but additionally coming from what the national and provincial would have added into local government. Currently, we're doing not necessarily so bad, but 88% still indicates that there is a 18, roughly percent that needs to ensure that we spend and spend properly on our municipalities and spend to the last rand. That's what will assist us in this beneficiary of the IDPs and the financial needs. I think that was all that you had for us. Okay. I'm not the program director.
I think, Minister, the questions and your responses have now warmed out to colleagues. Colleagues are warming up. And they will welcome the questions, and I think we'll later also invite the MEC. Let me see by way of hands. You see, Minister, we have warmed up.
It's a follow-up.
Start with you. Yes.
My name is Zolile and I'm from Engegement. Let me say, I would like to know if there's anything that we could do on the local municipalities. In the process of IDPs, there will be the allocation of funds to the local municipalities, and you find that, for example, in the Amatole or Mbashe local municipalities, there are schools that are being closed when it's raining. People can go to school because there's no bridge to cross over from this location to another location, and the money that is allocated from the municipality can't even maintain even one bridge. Can't you do anything about that?
Thank you very much. I saw another hand here. Or you want to go for a second bite?
It's a follow-up.
Second bite. Let's take that hand and we'll come back to you. Mark.
Oh, my name is Mfondo from Government Media. My first question to the Minister, reflecting back on previous Imbizo's, would you say that ordinary South Africans are able to say that previously, prior 1994, up until now, life is better than then? And then to the MEC, without preempting what people will be highlighting tomorrow, are you not worried about the infrastructure of the province? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Second bite?
Yes, it's actually a follow-up. The reason why I raised the IDP issue is that previously there has always been a cry that sector departments do not attend IDPs, and the municipalities are found wanting when issues of provincial and national competence are raised. So that's why I was asking if specifically the DDM will find expression in the IDP, where there will be constant quarterly reports as it is outlined in the STPIP.
Thank you very much. You know, the questions are also a reflection on us, Minister, as GCIS, on how effectively we communicate all the issues that you have said. And thank you very much. Maybe let me start with the MEC, Minister, and then we'll give you the rounding up. MEC.
Thank you very much for the questions. On the low-lying bridges and the challenges we face during rainy season and disaster, there's agreement in the province. And in fact, in our submissions to the Honorable Minister, when we submitted all the disaster assessments, we have indicated to the Honorable Minister and the National Disaster Center that we would want in the whole of the province, we would want to change the type of bridges we have. The low-lying bridges are not helping at all because they affect kids, they affect the economy, the rural economy of the province. And we said in our submissions, our technicians must make proposals for a changed type of bridge where water would go under the bridge and the bridge would be sustainably able to carry transport and the communities right through, whether it's a rainy season or not. So that's part of our submissions, and the department is responding positively to that request. Challenges of infrastructure that have been raised. The Eastern Cape has got huge backlogs as a province. It's a rural province. So there's a lot of infrastructure demand. We still need to extend services to rural communities. As can be seen in the projects that the Honorable Ministers talked about, the Tsomo project, which integrates the two districts. Close to 30,000 members of the communities will benefit out of that project. And about 2,800 jobs are going to be created. So that infrastructure is going to contribute to dealing with challenges of women fetching water from afar. it's going to reduce the distance they have to travel because they will have taps in their yards, which is quite a transformative tool if you look into that. And then the job opportunities. So my view is that we still have serious infrastructure backlogs which needs to be attended to, and the DDM project, as tabulated by the Honorable Minister from the President, is going to be one of those critical tools to drive that infrastructure development in the province. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. I think you were demonstrating the beauty of the model, and the Minister was saying that it's where you bring now service delivery, both municipality, province, and nation. Hence, the MEC said we have submitted to the Minister. And the Minister that the MEC is referring to, it's not somewhere, it's inside the house.
Well, maybe just to add on that, on what the MEC has said, Nolele, you'll recall that I said, even on my opening remarks, we're reviewing, particularly for KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape,
Yes.
our assessment model, because ordinarily a disaster comes, then you've got to assess, then there's a pocket of disaster funds that are usually not allocated prior. But ultimately, from the learnings, I mean, obviously you've got to learn from how the previous and the other 4 disasters manifested themselves. We've got advantage of early warning systems as well, which then indicates that in probability, there may be this turn with regard to the climate, right? That is why the MEC is saying we're now maximizing on that information to say, look, looking on a projection of years to come, we actually don't need the type of the design that was made in 80s and 70s. They might have been suitable for the times, but we need an overhaul, you know, and we need to go assess village by village and ensure that there is those kind of areas. But not only in terms of assessment, even in terms of how do we plan forward our human settlements going forward. Low-lying areas, places next to wetlands, water collection points to be avoided, nurtured, well demarcated. You know, in other countries, you normally see how they play around with designs of huge stones, even in between settlements, to ensure that they prevent the scourge of either whatever they may be trying to avert. So we're looking holistically into that. Unfortunately, it doesn't come cheap for the country. I mean, you could imagine we're trying, the province trying to change in almost all the low-lying bridges that you just know of, and many others that you might have not seen, that I might have not seen. But what is comforting is that the province is acting ahead of all the challenges that they are facing. Now, let me go back possibly to Keith's question. Obviously, I'll come to Mfundo's question. The sector departments were one of the reasons why DDM was initiated. Remember the quotation of acceptance by the President to say, we all are there, but we're operating in silos, you know? And the intention is to make sure that not only attend the IDP, what I spoke to as one plans leading to one budget, it's a consolidation at the district level and sector department. So in this instance, in the one plan of Chris Hani, Department of Human Settlement needs to be able to say, we are having this plan in 5 years, and this much in that area. And jointly, if you will remember, they do that planning with the province. Because they're not gonna build houses. So what is the role of a municipality? They have got to identify those beneficiaries. So there's a created value chain already. The municipality knows where are these people, who are they. The province can then assist the municipality, or they can do it jointly with regard to land allocation. In this instance, if it's the land for government or traditional leaders, the MEC will assist and get that pocket of land, and human settlement will build that house. The same goes to a police station, the same goes to a clinic, a hospital, etc. All of it needs to be part of this one plan. So why were we piloting? It was because there are 257 municipalities. You can't just launch in all of them. So if you go to the 3 sites now, and that is why we'll be able to deliver the tool. So the tool, in essence, when a municipality is done, and the good thing is that it is live, the tool will then be able to tell you all the plans. As I said, it will tell you there's a school here. It teaches this subject. It accommodates roughly how many learners. There's an Office of Home Affairs. This is how far it is from whatever center point. So that's what DDM ultimately will be about. It will not be about a theory. It is going to be a practical enhancer to service delivery. So that is what our IMS rollout team with regard to information. You could imagine a community member ideally wanting to attend the IDP, but he has no water, still has to go to fetch by the stream, which is somewhere in the outskirts. Maybe have got no electricity. This woman still has to go and fetch wood. The kids have taken a long distance to school. They're societal ill. There's crime, there's everything. And then you want this person to close his or her house and come to a meeting in a particular hall or a tente or a sontweni to come and listen to the mayor with the IDP. They are contesting needs. But you could be able, with the tool, to participate in an IDP online. You can send a WhatsApp and say, my view, my thought, because that's what an IDP is about. It's not that we must see your face if you can't show up, but we must make sure that the system is receptive to you and it's user-friendly, and you could be able to use it anyway. I've been a mayor for 8 years. I know what you are talking about, kid. It's very difficult to get sector department. But how I wish I was a mayor now.
Yeah.
Because it makes life relatively easier. It doesn't wipe away the problem. Because to know that there's a need of a police station does not mean there is a police station or there immediately will be a police station. It will still have to go through the planning system. But if you now have this tool and you realize that the Minister of Police is planning a police station and it's written that it will be done in 2030, you are well informed than going to raise it in an IDP than not being informed at all as well. So there is a life to one plans. And I further said, we're enhancing those one plans to now specifically focus as well and create much emphasis on economic development. This is our own assessment as CoGTA in our municipalities that, yes, we talk mostly about roads, we talk about water. It's okay, they are important. But at the end of it all, these people must be economically active. They must work, they must support themselves, they must be able to have a life. So what is our contribution that is tangible into the economy of the space? And I think that chapter is what we are developing towards. In Mfundo, ordinary South African's life is better than it was before 1994. Maybe for others, it was even better before. But I know from my mom, it is much even better. And you may think it's about my mom only. No. It's about a community that when in 1994 electricity coverage assessment was done, it was at 37%. If you ask your mom, he will tell you there used to be a light somewhere there in a farm of a white man and a huge settlement that was living in the dark. And that today is connected. Why at 97%? We may be having load shedding challenges, which are actually about the rollout of ensuring that we cover each and every group. Now you get into, when you are getting lost at night, you recognize a settlement by a collection of many more lights and you say, maybe I can go and ask, contrary to before. Access to water. Water pipes used to pass our villages and go and deliver water to a small settlement of where white people were staying. And today, if we have water, we have it, all of us. If it's not sustainable, it's not sustainable for all of us, right? So there are many even intangible benefits where you have a choice to stay. I believe you me, we wouldn't even be here for a press conference. So there's quite a lot of changes that we possibly are no longer appreciating. But even our constitution defines not selectively, but for everybody, that government needs to give you a service that is equal for the fact that you are all assumed equal as South Africans. So that's a major change that I think came with the new dispensation. But you can even go to States SA, the 9 financial figures, which shows you that we were at around 8% in 1994 with regard to access to sanitation. Hence the slogan of the Department of Water that water is life, sanitation is dignity. So we can know that prior 1994, our people were not given the dignity of sanitation. You know, where did we used to go and relieve ourselves? But today, and it's not a joke, it is not a joke, it can't be a joke. Our people were humiliated, they were made non-existent, but today we're hovering around 62%. Still not a good figure by all measures, because 48% is still too huge a number for people not to have credible access. But it is a progress. And those who stay in Soweto will tell you, not a single street besides the main roads were tarred. Today you go to Soweto, all of the streets are tarred. It only happened, Reverend Frank Chikane once at the press conference and said, oh, I missed the dust. He was making a joke in his church, but the essence was about, I'm getting out of my church now. I'm going into a tar road, a road that has not been seen. Mayor Masondo then, as the city of Johannesburg mayor, tapped the entire Soweto. You know, it could be something small, but it is massive. I'm sure I must go to the next
Vanessa, thank you very much. I think you, Minister, gave quite a very simple example. And now I'm watching that big ship there. When you said, actually, 1994, this was part of South Africa, we're not supposed to be here. Thank you very much. In closing, maybe let me invite the DG, Chagan, to close the session. And from my side, colleagues, we know you came quite early. I won't say it in front of the MEC and the Minister, but we do have something for you, team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naomi, Program Director. Zolile kubaphathiswa bethu, Mphathiswa uMama uThembi Nkadimeng, kunye noBaba Williams. Mine is to do a quick vote of thanks. But Minister wanted me to make a few comments around some of the work that was done in other areas, including Engegement. Let me first confirm what the MEC Williams said about the state of readiness for tomorrow. I was on site until late yesterday. I think we're very ready. I would invite all of you here to pay a visit to the water project that MEC Williams has talked about. It's a state-of-the-art water project. It's South African technology. It's not an imported technology. The biggest beneficiary of that project is Umnquma municipality, Butterworth. As you know, 3 years ago, Butterworth experienced a lot of drought.
Yeah.
I visited that municipality 3 times in 1 year to deal with water issues. So we have a project, the President will be visiting that project as well. Please do take pictures. It's state-of-the-art project. We have a number of other projects. Minister has touched on those projects. One of them was launched by the Minister of Higher Education and Training in Kofimba, which is in Sigayitu municipality. It's a science lab. We want scientists from this district. We want mathematicians from this district. We want astronauts from this district. So we do have a lab in Kofimba, state-of-the-art lab, science lab in Kofimba. It was launched a while ago. Please pay a visit, take pictures. It's a good project. The business of local government is extremely data-driven. That's why Minister is talking about the strategic hub, because the strategic hub system that you're using in eThekwini, it's used to make decisions. Every decision we make is evidence-based, it's data-based. We don't just use gut feel to make decisions. So you have to master the art of handling data to make a decision. If you're making a decision about traffic, you need to have data to make that decision. If you're making a decision about crime, there's data that you need to use to make that decision. So the strategic hub colleagues in eThekwini are assisting us to manage the data. But what we want to do is to elevate it and to utilize that system to manage data that is coming out of DDM, including budgeting. So basically, that's what strategic hub unit is all about. We want to have a strategic hub in almost every one of the 52 districts. As you know, we have 44 districts and 8 metropolitan municipalities. But we want to be able to understand what's happening in all of these areas. Countrywide, we have 257 municipalities, as you know. We can tell you the state of each and every one of those municipalities. We can tell you which municipality in the country is financially stable, which municipality is not financially stable. We can tell you which municipality is governed very well and which municipality is not governed very well. We have that data. We can tell you the state of the administration in that municipality, in all of the 257 municipalities. So we've been gathering this data since 2021 and analyzing it so that we can make effective decisions. Now, there was a question about the bridges. I think Minister touched on it briefly, that some of the municipalities are struggling to maintain the infrastructure. Yes, infrastructure maintenance is a challenge. We know that. But also the utilization of the existing budget, as small as it is also a challenge, because there are municipalities that are struggling to spend their money. It ends up in the fiscus. One of the things that we've activated this year is to utilize Section 20 of the Division of Revenue Act, which allows the Minister and the MEC to convert the grant into Schedule 6B. 6B means either national department or provincial department of CoGTA can implement those programs on behalf of the municipality. If the municipality is failing to spend the budget, then there's clear demonstration that this particular municipality has not been performing for a very long time. The MEC or the minister can come in by activating Section 20 of the Division of Revenue Act and assist the municipality. In any case, Section 154 of the Constitution allows us to continuously support municipalities. The minister would say the business of municipalities is everyone's business. We try as much as possible to avoid reacting, to be a little bit more proactive. And you can only be proactive if you are utilizing the data and you are monitoring what's happening in that municipality. My job was only to thank you all of you, starting with my bosses here, Ms.Thembi Nkadimeng and MC Williams, and yourself, Program Director. I was also asked to thank all the radio stations who are here and the broadcasting stations who have attended this meeting, in particular the women journalists. In this month of August. As my mother would put it, simply put, is that women always see things through. Women always get things done. They don't sleep endlessly. They want to make sure that everything is done. So mine is to thank you. Everything else has been said by my bosses. Thank you very much, Pamela, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, DG. Minister, I think from our side, the colleagues who might not be able to visit some of the projects will be giving you a list of some of the projects that the Minister mentioned. We get it through Vanessa, you might see GCIS is also here, and the CoGTA Provincial is here. But I think we'll also look at arranging a media tour at some point in time to visit the programs in some of these projects that have been done. And Minister, on that note, let us thank you very much, and the MC and the DG, and we can then release you. And for our good colleagues, we have some tea for you.
Thank you. Thank you.